Hi everyone, welcome back to my Loom kitchen, and today I'm going to show you how to make crepes, or sometimes pronounced as crepes depending on where you live. This isn't very difficult to make. It's a little band heavy, and one note, it does need a little bit of stuffing. I've listed down the colors I used as well as the band count on the recipe page, and you can find that link in the information box below this video. So check that out, come back, and let's begin. I have several items to fill my crepe with, and I've made it ahead of time. The first would be the strawberries dipped in chocolate. You will need one strawberry with the leaf top and one with the whipped cream top. And you will need one strawberry slice. These three items are in a separate tutorial, and there's a link to that on the recipe page. Another thing you need to pre-make is the whipped cream chain. I'll show you how to make that now. You're going to take one band of your crepe color, wrap it around your hook once, take two white bands for your whipped cream, pull that through, take a single white band, pull that through, and take two white bands and pull it through. Then you take one crepe colored band and pull that through. This is the whipped cream chain that I'll be using for this crepe. We will be needing 10 pieces. So if you could make 10 pieces, set that aside and we'll get back to that later. As an option, I'm adding one banana slice, and you don't really have to add this banana slice. It's fine with two strawberries dipped in chocolate and one strawberry slice. But this banana slice is actually part of my large Loom banana split, and the link for this is on my recipe page as well. But when you make this banana slice, just be sure to tie it off with a clear band or the same color band of your crepe. The last item I'll be adding is this wafer stick. This is a regular fish tail bracelet made on 4 pegs, and I just alternated the colors and I used double bands. You can choose to make that with 4 pegs, 3 or 2 pegs, and you can make it any length you want using either double or single bands. It's completely up to you. So whether you want it thin or thicker and longer, or thin and longer, it depends on how you want your crepe to look at the end. Now let's start with the crepe. We will be using our regular loom. If you could remove the center row and have the remaining 2 rows facing on opposite directions. My front row is facing to the right and my back row is facing to the left. We will be working on 9 pegs on each side, and I've marked each peg with a number. This is the back side where I have my numbers written on. That's the back side of the crepe. Now we're going to lay double bands from peg number 2 to peg number 8. So take 2 of your crepe colored bands and cross it from peg 2 to peg 8. Now we're going to lay double bands on top of those crossed bands, again from peg 2 to peg number 8. Now we're going to lift the lower 4 bands up and over. We will only be lifting the bands on pegs that have 8 rounds. So that means we'll only be lifting the lower 4 bands from peg 3 to peg 7. If you notice on the outer 2 pegs, there are 4 rounds on peg number 2 and peg number 8. So when there are 4 rounds on the outer pegs, it's the only time we extend to the next peg. So we're going to extend bands from peg 2 to peg 1 and peg 8 to peg 9. So take 2 bands, extend it here in an X, and over there. Now we're going to lay double bands again, but we're only going to lay them on pegs 2 to 8. We're going to lift the lower 4 bands again, but only on pegs number 2 to peg number 8. We're going to lay double bands again, but this time from peg number 1 to peg number 9. And we're going to lift the lower bands, but only on those pegs with 8 bands. So that's peg number 2 up to peg number 8. Our outermost pegs have 4 bands on them, so that means we're going to extend. We're going to extend these outer 2 pegs and add 2 bands to the front. Now we're going to lay double bands, but only on those back pegs from back peg 1 to 9. And then we're going to lift all the lower 4 bands from peg 1 to 9. We're going to lay double bands again, but this time we're going to add on the sides 2 bands, and we're going to fill up those back 9 pegs. We're going to lift the lower 4 bands only on the back 9 pegs. Now let's look at the front and the outermost pegs, which are these 2 front pegs, have 4 rounds, so that means we're going to extend it to the pegs inside. So 2 bands, stand here, and extend here. Now we're going to fill up double bands on top again, but only on the sides first, and then tie your back row. Please feel free to pause the video at any time if I'm going too fast or if you need to catch up. Lift the lower 4 bands on all the pegs on the back row. And the front row, just on these outer 2 pegs. Now double bands again, but this time we're going to start on these 2 pegs from the front. 2 bands here, 2 bands here, 2 bands on the sides, and 2 bands on all 9 pegs on the back. Lift the lower 4 bands on all the pegs on the back row. And those 2 outer pegs on the front. Now we have 4 rounds here, but instead of just extending it to the next peg, we're actually going to fill up that open space on the front. So double bands, 2 here, just X them out to fill up that open front row. Now let's do double bands all around the 18 pegs. So let's start to the sides. Now we're going to lift our lower bands again. This is the front area, the shorter side. You see this back area has a longer end. So in this first peg, there'll be 4 to lift up and over. On this second peg and the second to the last on the front side, there will be 6 bands to lift up and over. In the back row, there will be 4 lower bands to lift up and over on each peg. Let's move back to our front row, the shorter end. Now you take your whipped cream chains and you're going to fill up the sides and the entire front row. Now we're going to lift the lower 4 bands only on the front row. And we won't touch the back row first. Now we're going to do 1 round of double bands all around the 18 pegs. Now let's lift all the lower 4 bands here on the front. On the back portion, there will be 6 bands to lift up and over on those outer 2 pegs. Okay. Now we're going to grab our one strawberry, and this is the one with the whipped cream top. Take a single crepe colored band and just place your hook through anywhere. Just pull it through like that. Now turn your loom upside down. This is actually the top portion of the crepe, so your strawberry will be coming out from here. I know it's a little tight, but you don't have to squeeze it in. You just have to position it. So this is my center, and then I'm just going to grab the ends of that band I pulled through that strawberry, and I'm just going to attach it on the center pegs that way. So that is my center strawberry peg. We can arrange the filling later. I just want to make sure at this point we attach that top piece. Then we do a row of double bands all around the 18 pegs. And we're going to lift all the lower 4 bands up and over, except on the pegs where you attach the strawberry. You would be lifting 5 since we attached one end of the bands connected to the strawberry on 2 pegs. So after that one round, we're going to add the rest of our filling. So I'll get my other strawberry, and you can decide how it looks. Like if I put my strawberry here, I can make it lean a little bit or go inside. Now, maybe this time I'll make it go this way. So I'm just gonna grab my hook, just put it in the side that I want it to lean on, and I'll pull one of those bands, the crepe colored bands, through. And I'll position it somewhere here. Then I pick up those ends of that band, or if it doesn't fit, you can just grab the ends, as long as you know where your strawberry will be positioned. Pull those bands through, and I'm going to place one here, another here. I'm going to put my wafer stick here. And I'm going to grab the end of the clear bands that I placed to tie it off. Place it here, here. My strawberry slice, I'm just going to slip it in here. Now place one end of each side here. You can just make it stick out. We'll arrange everything later. Then get my banana slice. I'm going to slip it here. Place the ends over there. So now all my filling attachments are attached to the crepe, and we're going to do one last round on these 18 pegs. So double bands. Then we're going to lift all the lower bands up and over, leaving only 4 bands on each peg, and those are the 4 bands we just laid out. So some pegs you'll only be lifting 4 up and over. On the pegs where you attached your filling, there'll be more than 4, depending on where you attached them. So our next step is all repetitive stuff. We're going to start decreasing. So from these 18 pegs, we're going to decrease to 16. Now on this peg, pick up the upper two bands, and I see these upper two bands are coming from here, so I'll bring it here opposite, and the lower two over here since the other end is coming from here. Do the same here. Upper two bands are coming from here, so I'm going to bring it here. Lower two over here. Now we are on 16 pegs, and we're going to need 2 rounds of laying down double bands all around these 16 pegs. And after you lay your double bands around, you're just going to lift all the lower bands up and over, leaving only 4 bands on each peg. So pause your video, finish up this first round on the 16 pegs, then do one more round after. Unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. We're done with the 2 rounds on the 16 pegs, so we're now going to decrease to 14 pegs. So on this extended peg, just pick up those upper 2 bands, and the other end is coming from down here, so let's bring it the opposite way. Lower 2, opposite. Let's do the same here. Upper 2 bands, bring it opposite, which is here. Lower 2, down. It's the same process again. Lay double bands all around the 14 pegs. Then after each round, you're going to lift all the lower bands up and over, leaving only the upper 4 bands on each peg. So this is the first round. Pause your video, finish up this first round, and do one more round on the 14 pegs after. Unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. We finished 2 rounds on the 14 pegs, so now let's decrease this to 12. Let's pick up the upper 2 bands on this lower peg, and the other side is coming from this area, so let's bring it opposite. Let's do the same on the other side. Upper 2. So on 12 pegs, we're going to go through the same process of double bands, laying double bands and lifting the lower bands up and over. So if you could pause your video again, finish up these 2 rounds on the 12 pegs, unpause when you're done, and we will resume from there. We finished our 2 rounds on our 12 pegs, and if you turn your loom upside down, so it's sort of coming to shape, you can adjust this more as we get closer to the end. But as early as now, you can kind of just like pull your whipped cream from the inside. That way We're now going to decrease to 10 pegs from the 12 pegs, but before that, I'm going to add a little stuffing. We're not going to put a lot, just so that the upper portion of the crepe is more filled out. This is enough for now. Alright, so on our extended pegs again, you're going to pick up those top two bands. And this one comes from here, so I'm going to place it here, opposite, lower two, the other side. Do the same on the other end, top bands. Lower two here. On 10 pegs, let's do double bands. Lift all the lower bands up and over. Corner pegs, where we decrease, should have two more to lift up and over. The rest should only have 4. One more round. Lift all the lower bands. We're done with the 2 rounds on the 10 pegs. I'm going to add a little bit more stuffing. Turn your loom upside down and you can start arranging your filling. So we're going to go decrease again from the 10 pegs. Let's decrease to 8. On this lower peg, pick up the upper 2. Other end comes from here. So let's bring it here, opposite. Bring the lower 2 on the other side. Let's do the same here. Push it all down. On 8 pegs, we're going to do 2 rounds again, double bands. Lift all the lower bands up and over. Last round on the 8 pegs. Turn it upside down again, fix. This is your last chance to add any stuffing if you wanted to fill it up a little bit more. So now let's decrease from the 8 to 6. So on those extended pegs, pick up the upper 2 bands and bring it opposite from its other end. Lower 2, upper 2, lower 2. Let's do 2 rounds on 6 pegs. Last round. Almost done. So from the 6, we're going to decrease to 4. So on this lower peg, pick up the upper 2 bands and bring it opposite from its other end. And bring the lower 2 on the other side. Upper 2 bands here. So after that decrease, there are 6 rounds of bands on each peg. Just pick up the lower 2 and lift those up and over. Let's get ready to close this. So we're going to pick up the bands on this peg. And we're going to go to the one across, pick that up, and you're going to pull those 4 bands closest to your hook end through the back 4. Then you're going to pick up the bands on this peg, you're going to pull those through the back 4. Then you're going to pick up the last, and you're going to pull those through the back 4. And you're going to take a single band, pull it through, tie that off, then you're just going to arrange it and hide that tail around that crepe roll. Stick your hook in. So now you just reshape it, fix your filling area, unroll the back portion of your crepe, just make it look the way you want it to look, and that's it. So I hope you like it. Enjoy your Loom crepes.